Hello everybody, my name is Coolblood and welcome back to another video of mine. Today, I'll be debunking Krheanos Island's video about the FX Zone is an abomination. Now that's completely untrue, and the FX Zone is a really good zone. So before we start, I highly recommend you should watch his video first, which will be linked down in the description, and then you should watch mine. So let's begin, shall we?
And lastly, what I think is the second worst aspect of the level, yes, the boss fights are the worst, the god-awful level design. And how better to show off how ridiculous this level design is than to show a live reaction to how the beginning of Act 2 is most likely to start for most people.
That's completely untrue. Most casual players just hold right when they begin a stage. They don't spin dash into the enemy. And another thing, that yellow spring right there, it's a passive trap. I'm not sure if this skit is actually a joke or not.
Literally everything about this level design is only what I can call horrible. The base level design is very bad with its unneeded long stretches of emptiness throughout both acts. I will admit Act 2's level design is slightly better, but slightly isn't cutting it. The gimmicks are straight up bad. The little dart of the floating platforms are a nuisance.
You know, if you crouch, you won't get hit by them.
The laser floors only exist to stall.
If you have a lightning shield, well, you could just skip those sections. That's actually pretty good level design.
And the machine that takes you around the place is, well, just look at it. It's a completely useless mechanic that only exists to look cool instead of actually having functionality. And to reply to one of my comments, I can agree, okay? A passive check is a probable reason why some gimmicks are in the game, but that doesn't excuse the fact that they are slower than not using it, hence why it shouldn't exist.
It should exist. This gimmick has multiple variants. There's a variant that gets you straight to the end, or those who waste your time. Those who waste your time are actually pretty clever passive traps because most players do not pick up on the fact that it's a passive trap and it wastes your time, hence adding replayability.
If the wall climbing in Sandopolis is a passive check, is the gimmick that holds you place in Mushroom Hill Zone also a passive check?
Yes, but that one is actually pretty bad.
Is the machine that carries you up in Launch Base also a passive check?
Yes, and it's actually pretty clever. It sends you to the opposite direction where you're supposed to be heading, and you have to go on a zipline with a slow start.
Is this machine in Death Egg also a passive check? And if so, why? Why do we need so many reminders that some gimmick serves no purpose other than to be a halt movement?
Because the game was designed around time attack, the main way to play most of the Sonic games, especially this one. Now you might be asking, what is time attack? Well, first I'll start off, how do you play time attack? Well, it's pretty simple. First, you explore the levels, try to find the fastest route, then you finally time attack it, and try to get a good time, and that's how you play time attack. The main fundamental principles of a Sonic level is multiple layered routes and passive traps. Passive traps are detrimental to having a really good level. Now you can completely ignore these passive traps and completely avoid them, and that's the point. They are designed for you to avoid them. You're subconsciously time attacking the level when you avoid these passive traps, and they add depth and layers to the level design, and removing it actually makes the level weaker.
And the enemies aren't better either. The star enemy can completely hold your momentum if you're unprepared, and the enemy with the spike wall rotating around isn't placed well or they're unavoidable.
The enemies are placed well, and they're pretty easy to avoid. Well, almost all of them. You can memorize their locations and where they are located, and that's the point. Sonic games are designed around time attack. The devs intended for you to replay these levels and memorize the layouts.
This zone really does suck.
No, it doesn't suck. The best way to understand a Sonic level is by time attacking it. You see, I used to dislike the FX Zone. I tried to avoid playing it as much as possible, and then I finally decided to time attack Death Egg. and I enjoyed every single second of it. You see, there was this period of time, the time between Forces and Frontiers, which is called the Big Sonic Drought. And during that time, I lost interest in Sonic. I didn't play Sonic anymore, and then I learned that there was another way to play these games, which was time attack. And that gave me a whole new perspective on these 30-year-old games. You see, if I never time attacked these games, well, I would have wasted my time playing Minecraft all day, and I would have never made Sonic Speedfresh, a fan game that I'm currently working on. So, Krheanos, if you're watching this video, please try out time attack. I highly recommend it. Now, if you stuck to the end, thank you so much guys for watching. Please do not harass Krheanos, he's a really cool guy. And if you still haven't watched his video first, well, I only covered a third of it, so there's still 2/3 of it to watch. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.